What makes a classic a classic? The answer to this question gets to the heart of tonight's production of Antigone, but it also gets to the very heart of a Montfort education. To quote one of our most esteemed and beloved teachers, Dr. Nathan Leibowitz, here tonight and who has taught Montfort Knights for 17 years, what makes a classic is that it has enduring value. No matter the time or place or circumstances in history, a classic stays relevant because its lessons to man stand the test of time and are always contemporarily relevant. Because the Greeks were the first people to understand that there's such a thing as truth, and because they relentlessly searched for it through their philosophy and intellectual pursuits, they left us with many classics, whether philosophical, mathematical, scientific, architectural, literary, or theatrical. Greek classics are expressions of man's relentless search for truth. And this is the heart of a classic and the heart of Montfort's education. This is why, after 4 years of education, we go to Sicily every year, which after Athens was the center of classical civilization. And among the cities we visit is Syracuse, where this play was performed originally 2,500 years ago. Theater is certainly one of the greatest contributions of the Greeks to our Western culture, and much of modern theater owes its form, dialogue, costumes, stage settings to Greek theater, which placed man squarely in his search for truth. Now, of course, there are Greek comedies, and there are Greek tragedies. And in Greek theater tradition, the two do not intersect. A play is either one or the other, and Antigone is definitely a tragedy. Antigone deals with serious matters like the laws that kings and presidents make, and how they often conflict with the laws that the gods or God has made and seem very unfair. It deals with the corruption of leaders who get drunk with power and pride and the often tragic consequences, not just for them, but also the people they govern. It's about justice versus injustice, individual conscience versus government authority, and the extent to which the governed should resist authority. These are the themes that all people have dealt with in ancient Greece, ancient Rome, medieval Europe, early America, our Prohibition era, the great powers of World War II, the Civil Rights era, and most recently during the pandemic. And that is the heart of our creative production tonight. You will hear our students recite the original dialogue of Antigone, exactly as Sophocles wrote it 2,500 years ago. They will stay still as they recite, but time will move. The setting of the play will transform continuously from one era to another. We will start in ancient Greece with the original story of King Creon and Antigone, but we will move forward in time from scene to ancient Rome and the Diocletian persecution of Christians, then to medieval England when Henry VIII waged war against the good conscience of his Catholic advisor, St. Thomas More. Then we will move to the fight for women's right to vote and the injustice of prohibition to Hitler's annihilation of the Jews. And finally, to the unprecedented COVID pandemic that made children prisoners of their own homes and families unable to hold proper funerals for their beloved family members. The dialogue is constant, but the setting changes constantly. I'm excited by this production because while Antigone has been adapted to many individual time periods in an effort to modernize it, no production, to my knowledge, has kept the original dialogue and changed the time periods continuously in the same performance. And we have done this to demonstrate the timelessness and contemporary relevance of the lessons contained in this play. This has been an extraordinary tour de force of collaboration among me, our phenomenal theater director, Miss Schein, our teachers of history and literature. It's multidisciplinary and multimedia and involved the contributions not only of the theater class, but also the art class, the music class, with creative talents all around, including freshmen with wonderful video creation skills. Later on, look around the artwork, watch the videos, listen to the music. That is all the creative work of our students, and I'm so proud of them. Our actors have worked so hard as actors attempting to absorb and transmit the real meaning and lessons of the play. And they have also worked hard as sound technicians, lighting technicians, stage managers and stage hands, and graphic artists and video editors. And of course, our parents have worked hard behind the scenes to provide food, to sew costumes, pick up kids late into the night, and so much more. This is Montfort's 32nd theatrical production, and it has the potential to be our most dramatic. It may leave you unsettled, but it will leave you wondering and continuing your own search for truth and wisdom. So, ladies and gentlemen, the Montfort Academy Players present our rendition of Sophocles' Antigone.
Ismene, listen. The same blood flows in both of our veins, doesn't it, my sister? The blood of Oedipus and suffering, which was his destiny, is our punishment too. The sentence passed on all of his children: physical pain, contempt, insults, every kind of dishonor. We've seen them all and endured them all, the two of us. But there's more to come now, today. Have you heard it? This new proclamation which the king has made to the whole city? Have you heard how those nearest to us are to be treated with the contempt we reserve for traitors, people we love?
No one has told me anything, Antigone. I've heard nothing, neither good nor bad, about anyone we love. Not since the battle. I mean, in the terrible news that both our brothers were dead one day. One battle and fratricide twice over. Each brother cutting down from his own flesh. But the army from Argos retreated last night. I have heard that. Nothing else to cheer me up or depress me further.
I thought you hadn't. That's why I asked you to meet me here, where I can tell you everything without any risk of being overheard.
What is it then? More terrible news? Something black and frightening? I can see that.
Well, what do you think, Ismene? Perhaps you can guess. We have two brothers, both of them dead, and Creon has decreed that a decent burial shall be given to one, but not to the other. Eteocles apparently has already been buried with full military honors and all the formalities due to the dead meticulously observed, so that his rest in the underworld among the heroes is assured. But Polynices, who died in agony just as certainly as his brother did, is not to be buried at all. The decree makes that quite plain. He is to be left lying where he fell, with no tears and no ceremonies of mourning, to stink in the open till the kites and vultures catch the scent and tear him to pieces and pick him to the bone. Left unburied, there is no rest for him in the underworld, no more than here. What a great king our Creon is, eh, sister? It's against us, you realized, and against me in particular, that he has published this decree. And he'll soon be here himself to make it public to the senators and anyone who may have not heard it. He isn't bluffing. He means to act, to make it stick. The punishment for anyone who disobeys the order is public stoning to death. So that's the news, and you know it now. The time has come for you two to stand up and be counted with me, and to show whether you are worthy of the honor of being Oedipus's daughter.
Wait a minute, Antigone, don't be so headstrong. If this is all that you say it is, what can I do, one way or the other?
Just say you will help me. Commit yourself.
To do what, something dangerous?
Just to give me a hand to lift the body. It's too heavy for me to move on my own.
To bury him, you mean? In spite of the decree.
He is my brother. And like it or not, he's yours too. I won't betray him now that he's dead. No one will ever throw that in my face.
You must be mad. Creon has publicly forbidden it.
He can't forbid me to love my brother. He has neither the right nor the power to do that.
Have you forgotten what happened to our father? Contempt and loathing from everyone, even from himself. That was his reward. And blinded too by his own hand. And his mother, wife, as ill-matched with him as those two words are with each other, she knotted a rope and hanged herself. And now our two brothers, both in one day, caught in the same trap, claiming blood for blood and death for death, each one at the expense of the other. We are the last ones left, sister. And what a death is promised for us more terrible than any if we break the law by defying the king and the power of state. Think for a moment, Antigone, please. We are women. That's all. Physically weaker and barred from any political influence. How can we fight against the institutionalized strength of the male sex? They are in power, and we have to obey them. This time, and maybe in worse situations than this. May God forgive me and the spirits of the dead. I have no choice. State power commands, and I must do as I am told. When you are powerless, wild gestures and heroic refusals are reserved for madmen.
Don't say any more. I won't ask again. In fact, if you were to offer help now, I would refuse it. Do as you please. I intend to bury my brother, and if I die in the attempt, I shall die in the knowledge that I have acted justly. What greater satisfaction than that, for a loving sister to embrace a loving brother even in the grave, and to be condemned for the criminal act of seeing him at peace? Our lives are short. We have too little time to waste it on men and the laws they make. The approval of the dead is everlasting, and I shall bask in it as I lie among them. Do as you please. Live by all means. The laws you will break are not of man's making.
I reverence them. But how can I defy the unlimited power of the state? What weapons of mine are strong enough for that?
Fine, that's a good excuse. I'll go and shovel the earth from my brother's body.
I'm frightened, Antigone. I'm frightened for you.
Don't be frightened for me. Fear for yourself.
For God's sake, keep it quiet. Don't tell anyone, and I'll keep our meeting secret.
Don't you dare! You must tell everybody. Shout it in the streets. If you keep it a secret, I shall begin to hate you.
There is a fire burning in you, Antigone, but it makes me go cold just to hear you.
I'm not doing it to please you. It's for him.
This obsession will destroy you. You are certain to fail.
I shall fail when I have failed, not before.
But you know when it's hopeless? Why begin when you know you can't possibly succeed?
Be quiet before I begin to despise you for talking so feebly. He will despise you too. And and justly. You can go now. Go! If I am mad, you can leave me here with my madness, which will doubtless destroy me soon enough. Death is the worst thing that can happen, and some deaths are more honorable than others.
If you've made up your mind, Antigone, it's madness. Remember, I love you. Whatever happens.
The life-giving sun has never shone more brightly on the seven gates of Thebes than he shines this morning.
Never a more glorious dawning than this sunrise over Dirce's river, when the army of the foreign invader at first light made its panic-stricken flight, and all its white shields and its bright weapons were gone.
Like a snowy eagle from the mountain crest they came shrieking down on our city.
The army of Argos, the spurious treaty to enforce Polynices' claim, all its horsehair plumes nodding together, and a grinding of brass and a creaking of leather. By our seven shuttered gates it waited, eyes glittering in dark helmets, swords drawn, spears couching.
But before the killing and burning, the metallic taste of blood, and crashing stonework and blazing wood, they turned and fled, the music of death in their ears, at their back, the dragon's breath.
Zeus had seen them, he who hates inflated pride of the empty boasts of the windbag. He heard their singing as if the victory were theirs for the taking.
And he brought down his thunder on their glittering hosts, struck them with lightning and sent them flying, scorched them and burnt them and left them dying.
Down like a rock from the mountain crest, he came thundering to earth. The flame dashed from his hand. The son of Thebes, whose best hope of fame was to conquer his native land, and who failed in his quest.
For the Lord God gave us his word of command. Like a battle chariot, his terrible name ran them down where they stood, and they died in the dust. Now, at each of our seven gates, a Theban defender awaits.
As seven champions bring their fame and armor to the fight, and before the coming of night, 6 have put their fame to test. 6 have laid both fame and armor to rest, as of tribute at great Zeus's feet.
At the 7th gate, 2 brothers meet, sharing their blood in death as in birth, each striking together, each laying the other dead on the earth.
There will be victory celebrations today in the city of charioteers and singing in the streets. There will be ceremonies of thanksgiving and grateful tears for the end of fighting as the enemy retreats and time to come for relaxation and flight. Now, as all voices are raised and the drum beats, the ecstatic God himself will appear. Bacchus the drunkard, to take power for one day in the city he calls his own. Time to dance all night, to shake the foundations till the faint light of dawn flushes the window and the lamps fade.
Now Creon is king. He made the most of his fortune and the god's choice. The son of Benicius, as the people rejoice, the new king enters to take his throne, the responsibility his alone.
But why has he called us here to debate in emergency session, his public proclamation so vital to the state?
Senators, our country, like a ship at sea, has survived the hurricane. The gods who sent it have navigated us into calmer waters now. I've chosen to summon this assembly because I know I can trust you. Your predecessors were loyal and reliable in King Laius' time, and when King Oedipus in his exceptional wisdom restore the fortunes of this city. When tragedy struck him and his rule was ended, your loyalty to the blood royal was never questioned, and you supported his sons, till they too were brought down in a single day, incestuously murdered, each brother shedding a brother's blood. By that same blood right, as next of kin, I claim the throne and all its power, both city and kingdom. I claim it and hold it from today as mine by right. There is no certain measure of a man's quality, the depth of his intellect and the maturity of his judgment, until he is put to the supreme test by the exercise of lawful power in the state. My own opinion is well known. The ruler who fears the consequences of his actions, or who is afraid to act openly, or take the good advice of his senators, is beneath contempt. Equally contemptible is the man who puts the interests of his friends or his relations before his country. There is nothing good can be said of him. Let me make it plain before the gods, whose eyes are in every council chamber. When I see any threat to this nation from whatever direction, I shall make it public. No one who is an enemy of the state shall ever be any friend of mine. The state, the fatherland, is everything to us, the ship we all sail in. If she sinks, we all drown, and friendship drowns with us. That's my policy, a policy of service to the Commonwealth. And in pursuance of that policy, I have issued an official state decree concerning the sons of Oedipus. Eteocles, who died fighting for his country, and with exceptional bravery, we shall bury him with all the honors and funeral ceremonies customary for a man who died a hero. His brother Polynices, who returned here at the head of a foreign army to destroy his homeland, to burn down the city, and reduce the people to a condition of slavery, or kill them in the streets. I have ordered that he is to have no grave at all. No one is to bury him or mourn for him. His body is to be left in the open, uncovered, a stinking feast for the scavengers, dogs, and crows, a sight to inspire terror. I intend to make it quite plain that never under my administration will people who commit crimes against the state reap any benefit from their actions, and at the expense of honest, decent citizens too. But people who serve the state, alive or dead, that makes no difference. I shall honor them for their actions.
Son of Vinicius, you are king now. You have delivered your verdict and sentence upon the man who defended the city and the man who attacked it unambiguously.
The full power of the law is in your hands, and it binds the dead as well as the living. We are all at your disposal.
Make sure then that my orders are carried out.
Younger men than us should implement your policies.
I don't mean that. Polynices' body is already under guard.
What else must we do? What other responsibility do you lay upon us?
Not to intrigue with dissidents or subversive elements.
We are not mad, sir. We know the law and the penalty for breaking it.
Which will be death. And be in no doubt I shall enforce it, because there are always men who can be bought, who will risk anything, even death, if the bribe is large enough.
Sir Thomas More, you have been called before us here in the Great Hall of Westminster to answer charge of high treason. Nevertheless, and though you have grievously offended the King's Majesty, we hope that you will even now forethink and repent your obstinate opinions. You may still taste his gracious pardon.
My lords, I thank you. Howbeit, I pray God will keep me in this my honest mind to the last hour I shall live. Yes, for the matters you may charge me with, I fear, owing to my present weakness, that neither my wit nor my memory will serve to make sufficient answer.
My Lord Creon, sir, if I could hardly speak for lack of breath, it's not because I ran. I kept on stopping, as a matter of fact, half a dozen times, and I hung about as much as I dared. I haven't thought about anything so much for a long time. Listen, don't hurry, I said to myself. The chances are, poor sod, you'll cop it when you get there. But then I said to myself, you see, hang about, I said, or rather, don't, because if Creon hears this from somebody else, then you're really in trouble. So I hurried here as slow as I could, going round and round in circles, in my head as well as with my feet. It's funny how long a mile could take you when you're thinking what I was thinking. However, duty called in the end, and I reckon you would be safer to face it out. It may be unimportant, but I've come here, so now I'll tell you. If I'm punished for it, the gods will be behind it, that's for sure, so I wouldn't have escaped it anyway.
Talk sense, man. Why are you frightened?
Well, first of all, sir, like for myself, my own point of view, I never done it, and I didn't see who else did it neither, so I shouldn't be punished for it, should I?
Is there any need for all this preamble? You take great care to dissociate yourself from what you say. Ugh, it must be bad news.
It is bad news, sir, and I'm so frightened. I don't know how to put it for the best.
The plainest way. And then we can have done with you.
Straight out with it then. The body's buried. Someone or other, a handful of dust, that's all. Dry dust, but properly sprinkled, religiously, and then gone, whoever it was.
Do you know what you're saying? Who has dared to disobey my orders?
No way of knowing, sir. We've no idea. There's been no digging, no spade marks, or nothing. The ground's rock hard. There are no wheel tracks either from a chariot or cart or anything. In fact, no clues of any kind at all. Nothing to tell you who might have done it. When the sentry taking the early turn discovered what had happened and came back, we were all scattered and scared stiff. It was as though the body had disappeared. Not buried in a proper grave, I don't mean, but lightly covered with a layer of earth. Almost as though some passing stranger with a religious turn of mind, knowing that being left unburied means everlasting anguish and wandering without rest, had scouted a few handfuls. There was no tracks of animals either, not of dogs or anything, who might have gnawed at it and covered it over with their front legs like they do a bone. A real row started then, I can tell you. We shouted at each other, and there could have been a fight. No one was there to stop us. None of us could have done it. But we all suspected each other anyway. We all denied it, and there was no evidence to prove one man guilty rather than another. So we all dared each other to swear to go through fire and water, to hold red-hot pokers in our hands, and call all the gods as witnesses that we hadn't done it, and didn't know anyone who had, or would even think of it, let alone do it. And none of any of it got us nowhere. Then one of the fellas had to say, and he scared us all shitless, I can tell you. He said, and we knew he was dead right, there was no way out of it. We had to do it and take our chances. This fella said, one of us lot must tell the king, because we can't just hide it, can we? That's what he said, and we knew he was dead right. So we decided we've had to draw lots, and just my luck, I drew the short straw. And I don't like telling it one little bit more than you like hearing it. The bloke who brings bad news never gets a medal.
My Lord Creon, this policy of yours has worried me from the start. My political instincts tells me that this may be some sort of warning or sign, and perhaps from the gods.
How dare you! Shut your mouths, all of you, before I lose my temper. And you, if you are a superannuated fool, at least don't talk like one. Is it likely, remotely likely, that the gods will think twice over that pile of stinking meat? By God, it's blasphemy even to suggest that they would care a damn whether he was buried or not, let alone grant him an honorable funeral as though he were one of their principal supporters. The man who came to burn down their temples, plunder their treasuries, pull down their statues, and bring destruction and contempt for their land and its laws. Do the gods love criminals these days? Oh no, they do not. But gentlemen, there are men in this city, and I have noted them. A subversive faction, enemies of the state, a cell of oppositionists, call them what you will, who reject the law and my leadership. They meet in secret and nod and whisper their seditious talk, and they are behind this. Any fool can see that. Their bribery has suborned my soldiers and paid for this demonstration against my authority. Money, gentlemen, money! The virus that infects mankind with every sickness we have a name for, no greater scourge than that. Money it is that pounds great cities to piles of rubble, turns people by the millions into homeless refugees, takes homeless citizens and corrupts them into doing things they will be ashamed to think of before the fee was mentioned, until there's no crime that can't be bought, and in the end brings them into the execution chamber. Well, whoever they are, these men who have sold themselves, they'll find the price considerably higher than they thought it was. You, get this into your head. My Zeus, my God, whose power I revere, I swear to you, soldier, that either you will find the man who buried Polynices' body in defiance of my express commands and bring him here, the actual man who sprinkled the earth, no other will do, standing here in front of me, or you, soldier, will die for it. And death, I promise you, will be the least of your punishments. You'll be made a public example and interrogated by the security police, kept standing, beaten across the feet, the whole repertoire of special techniques at which we excel so much. until you confess the full range of this conspiracy. Who paid you, how much, and for what purpose? The choice is yours, and perhaps that indicates where your own best interests lie. Crimes against the state and its laws, you'll find, are very unprofitable in the end.
Am I allowed to speak, sir?
No! Why should you speak? Every word you say is painful to me.
Well, it can't be earache, can it, sir? Not what I said. It must stick in your gullet, or further down, maybe a sort of pain in the conscience?
You dare to answer me back and make jokes about my conscience?
Me, sir? No, sir. I might give you earache, I can see that. I talk too much, always have done. But the other pain, the heartburn, as it were, that's the criminal causing that, not me.
You're not short of a quick answer either.
Maybe not, but I didn't bury the body, not guilty of that, sir.
But maybe guilty of selling your eyes for money a century, of looking the other way for cash.
I think it's a shame, sir, that an intelligent man, and as well educated as you are, should miss the point so completely.
I am not interested in your opinions. If you fail to find this enemy of the state and bring him here to me, you'll learn that money from whatever source will certainly not save your life.
Let's hope they find him, whoever he is. But one thing I'm sure of, they won't find me. I never thought I'd get out of here alive, and when I do get out, nothing will bring me back again. I've had an amazing stroke of luck, and I won't chance my arm a second time.
You won't live to see the future that you fight for. Maybe no one gets to reach that perfect day. If the work is never over, then how do you keep
12
marching
reasons why
anyway?
women should vote.
Do you
1. Because those who obey the laws should help to choose those who make the laws.
Rewriting the world with your imperfect pen, till the next stubborn girl picks it up in a picket line over and over again. And you join in the chorus of centuries, chanting to her. The path will be twisted and risky and slow, but keep marching, keep marching. Will you fail or prevail? Well, you may never know, but keep marching, 'cause your ancestors are all the proof you need that progress is possible, not guaranteed. It will only be made if we keep marching on. 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 And remember every mother that you came from.
Is there anything more wonderful on earth, our marvelous planet, than the miracle of math? With what arrogant ease he rides the dangerous seas, from the wave's towering summit to the yawning true beneath.
The Earth Mother herself, before time began, the oldest of the ageless gods, learned to endure his driving plow, turning the earth and breaking the clods, till by the sweat of his brow shielded up her fruitfulness.
The quick-witted birds are no match for him, neither victim nor predator among the beasts of the plain, nor the sea's seething masses. His cunning surpasses their instinct, his skill is the greater, and his nets teem.
The wild bull of the savage mountain, and the magnificent stag who passes like a king through upland and glen, the untamed horse with his matted tresses, uncut on his neck, all submit to man, and the yoke and the bit, and his power increases.
He has mastered the mysteries of language, and thought which moves faster than the wind. He has tamed and made rational.
Political wisdom too, all the knowledge of people and the states, all the practical arts of government, he has studied and refined, built cities to shelter his head against rain and danger and cold, and ordered all things in his mind.
There is no problem he cannot resolve by the exercise of his brains or his breath, and the only disease he cannot solve or cure is death.
In action, he is subtle beyond imagination, limitless in his skill, and these gifts are both enemies and friends, as he applies them equally with to good or to evil ends.
All men honor, and the state uplifts that man to the heights of glory, whose power upholds the Constitution and the gods and their laws.
His city prospers, but if he shifts his ground and takes the wrong path, despising morality and all grown up with pride, indulges himself and his power at my hearth, may he never warm himself or sit at my side.
But wait, I can't believe my eyes. Can this be true? This is Antigone. I recognize her as clearly as I can see you.
Her father's destiny was suffering and pain, and all on his progeny misfortunes reign.
Child, did you openly disobey the new king's order and bury your brother?
Do you have to manhandle her this way?
We saw it, actually burying the body. Caught him in the act, as they say, red-handed. Only it's not a him, it's a her. Where's the king?
Just returning now, when he's most needed.
What's all the noise? By the look of things, I'm not here a moment too soon. What has happened?
Lord Creon, I reckon it's always unwise to swear oaths and make promises, even to yourself. Second thoughts 9 times out of 10 will have their say and end up by calling you a liar. It's no time at all since I promised myself I wouldn't be seen dead here again. You were that angry with me the last time. A right mouthful you gave me, more than enough, thanks very much. But you can't beat a real turn-up for the book, can you? There's nothing more enjoyable than a good win when you're expecting its housing. So here I am again, as the comic said, and my promise is not worth the air they were spoken with. This girl's your criminal. We caught her doing it, actually setting the grave to rights. I brought her here, and there was no panic this time, I can tell you. No recriminations or drawing lots. This job was all mine. I caught her, and I claimed the credit for it. And now, she's all yours. Take her and accuse her. Stone her to death if you'd like. By rights, I'm free to go, and well shot of it all.
Where did you arrest her? Tell me the details.
She was burying him. What else is there to say?
Are you out of your mind? Do you realize the implications of what you're saying?
Sir, she was burying the body. I saw her. The body you ordered not to be buried. I can't speak plainer than that.
Do you catch her in the act? Did you see her doing it?
Well, gentlemen, it was like this. As soon as I got back, remembering all those threats, or promises you made me, we brushed all the earth off the naked body, which was all wet and beginning to decay by now. And we sat up on the ridge, well to the windward of the sting. We all kept a sharp eye on each other, ready to nudge anyone who dropped off and tear him off a strip too. For hours we sat there till about midday. The sun was smack overhead, blazing down, and the heat was something terrible, I can tell you. And then, it was as though a whirlwind blew up. Definitely a twister it was, but localized. And it raised up a dust storm, which swept across the plain, tore all the leaves off the trees, blotted out the whole sky, and completely blinded us. It seemed like some terrible manifestation of the gods, and you have to shut your eyes to endure it all. Then, suddenly it stopped, and when the air cleared, we opened our eyes and saw this girl standing there beside the grave, and sort of wailing as though she were in pain or maybe anger. Just like a bird who comes back to the nest and finds the egg smashed or the fledglings gone. That's what it sounded like. She was standing there, looking at the naked body and screaming and cursing the monsters who had done such a thing. Us, of course. And then she crouched down, picked up a few handfuls of dry dust, and scattered it on him. She carried an urn, a small ceremonial bronze thing, and she poured from it 3 times on the dead body. Honey and wine and stuff in it, I suppose. All the proper ritual for a funeral anyway. Soon as we saw that, we came charging down and arrested her on the spot. She wasn't frightened or anything. She stood her ground. So then we formally charged her with the crime, this and the one before. She admitted she had done both, and we were relieved to hear that, I can tell you. But sorry, too, at the same time. It's very nice to get out of trouble yourself. Not so nice when you drop someone else up to the neck in it, someone you have no quarrel with. But still, your own life comes first, I reckon. You have to look out for number one.
And you with your head down, what do you say to this accusation? Do you admit it? Are you guilty or not?
Yes, I am guilty. I don't pretend otherwise.
You, soldier, get out. You're cleared of all charges against you and free to go back to your unit. Now tell me, a simple yes or no. Did you hear of my order forbidding the burial?
Of course I heard it. How could I not?
And yet you dare to disobey the law?
Yes, I did. Because it's your law, not the law of God. Natural justice, which of all times and places, numinous, not material, a quality of Zeus, not of kings, recognize no such law. You are merely a man, mortal like me, and the laws that you enact cannot overturn ancient moralities or common human decency. They speak the language of eternity, are not written down, and never change. They are for today, yesterday, and all time. No one understands where they came from, but everyone recognizes their force. And no man's arrogance or power can make me disobey them. I would rather suffer the disapproval and punishment of men than dishonor such ancient truths. I shall die, of course, sometime, whether you make laws or not. If my death comes sooner rather than later, I shall welcome it. My life has been misery, is misery now. I shall be more than happy to leave it. There will be no pain and no despair in that. But to leave my mother's son out there in the open, unburied, that would have been unendurable. I could not have bore it, whereas this I shall endure. By your judgment, of course, I'm a fool. But by mine, it's the judge, not the accused, who's behaving foolishly.
This is her father speaking. Stubborn like him, she won't give away, not even with the whole power of the state against her.
Well, we shall see. Any man can be broken, and often the most committed and determined break soonest. Even iron, you know, left lying in the fire too long, becomes over-tempered and will snap as soon as little pressure is applied. You can break it in pieces, and the wildest horse in the end submits to the bit and halter just like the rest. People without power, ordinary citizens, must necessarily obey those in authority over them. This woman is very proud. That was obvious in the first place when she broke the law, and is even clearer now. She glories in the crime she has committed, and insults me to my face, as well as ignoring my decree. If she is allowed to flout the law in this way, all authority in the state will collapse. I will not have that. There will be no exchanging of roles here, me playing the woman while she plays the king. She is my niece, my sister's child, but I am the law. And that responsibility is above kinship. Were she even closer, the closest, my own daughter, my duty would be plain. The law has its weapons, and they will strike at her and at her sister too. Her accomplice, I've no doubt, in this illegal act, to the full extent of the punishment prescribed. The other one is Mania. Bring her here. I saw her in the corridor talking to herself and sobbing emotionally like a mad woman. Guilty consciences, you see, can never be hidden completely. The human face reveals conspiracies before they are enacted again and again. But there is nothing more disgusting than the confessed criminal who tries to justify his actions, as this woman here has done today.
What more do you want? Kill me and have it done with.
Nothing more than your death. That'll be enough.
Then what are you waiting for? Nothing you say will be of the slightest interest to me, and my arguments you will not listen to. I have done what I said I'd do. I've buried my brother. I aspire to no greater honor, and if I am to be famous, let it be for that. All these senators of yours, they all agree with me in their hearts. But there is no gag like terror, is there, gentlemen? And tyrants must have their way, both in word and action. That's their privilege.
You are quite mistaken. None of the Thebans anywhere in the city thinks as you do.
They all do, but they keep their mouths shut when you're here.
Not at all. And you should be ashamed setting yourself up against the majority, disregarding the will of the people.
I love my brother. I honor him dead as I loved him living. There is no shame in that.
And the one he murdered, wasn't he your brother?
My mother bore them both, and I loved them both.
If you honor one, you insult the other.
Neither of those dead men would say that.
Eteocles would. His brother was a traitor. Does he merit no greater respect than that?
But he was not an animal. They both died together, and they were both men.
Yes, and the one died defending his country while the other traitorously attacked it.
The dead have their rights, and we have our duties towards them, dictated by common decency.
And if good and bad are to be honored equally, where are our values? Our patriotism, our civic duty.
Death is another country. Such things may not be valued there, may even be crimes.
An enemy is still an enemy, dead or alive.
No, I was born with love enough to share. No hate for anyone.
Very well. Share your love by all means. Share it with the dead. I wish them well of it. Women must learn to obey as well as men. They can have no special treatment. Law is law and will remain so while I am alive, and no woman will get the better of me.
Look, senators, Ismene weeping for her sister. Her face is raw with tears. Flayed with misery, her loveliness is scarred now. This disaster darkens her fair skin with premonitions and fears, and flushes her cheeks with anguish, spoiling her beauty.
And you, snake, slithering silently about my house to drink my blood in secret, both of you the same. I looked the other way, and like terrorists, you laid undercover plans to destroy me. Well, do you confess your complicity in this crime or protest your innocence?
Yes, I confess. If she will allow me to say so, I was fully involved, and if she's guilty, so am I.
No! That isn't justice! When I asked you for help, you refused me, and so I told you I didn't want you. I'd do it alone.
But now that you're in danger, Antigone, I'm proud to stand beside you in the dock.
The dead man knows who buried him. What use are people who are all words and no action?
Please, my sister, don't despise me. Let me share the honor and die with you.
You've no right to claim the honor for doing what you were afraid to do. One death will be enough. Why should you die?
Because life without you won't be worth living.
Ask Creon to protect you. He is your uncle.
Do I deserve such contempt? Do you enjoy making fun of me, sneering at my misery?
You're right. It's a reflection of my own pain. If such bitter pleasures are all I have left.
Let me help you then. It's not too late.
Save your own life. Do that for yourself without any criticism from me or envy.
For God's sake, Antigone, will you not allow me even to share my death with my sister?
No, I won't. You choose to live when I choose to die, and that's the end of it.
But I wasn't afraid to speak. I warned you that this would happen. I knew how it would be.
And the majority would agree with you. But some would be of my opinion.
But we're both in the wrong and both condemned.
No, you must live. I have been dead for a long time inwardly. I am well suited to pay the honor to the dead and die for it.
These women are neurotic lunatics, both of them. One of them going off her head before our eyes, the other one born unbalanced.
Well, are you surprised? Anyone would crack the most tough-minded person under such treatment.
You lost your senses when you allowed yourself to be influenced by her lunacy.
There's no life for me here, not without my sister.
Don't speak of her. She's as good as dead.
Will you kill the woman your son plans to marry?
There are other women. No lack of choice for a young man, other fields to plow.
But they're devoted to each other. You can't change love as you change your clothes.
No son of mine can marry a criminal.
Oh, Haman, when you hear how your father insults you...
Let him hear. What does his mistress matter to me?
Lord Creon, you insult your own. They are formally betrothed. Will you tear the woman from your own son's arms?
Death parts all lovers sooner or later.
If that's how the land lies, the poor child's doomed. Her debts weren't sealed and delivered.
By you, gentlemen, if you remember, as well as by me. You heard the order, agreed it with me, if only by your silence, did you not, before the criminal was known? We'll have no more shilly-shallying. Take them away, lock them up, and keep them under close guard. It's time they understood that they are women, and that their proper place in the society is to be women. There's nothing like the immediate threat of death to soften up their rhetoric and make them look reality in the face.
Everybody seems to talk of prohibition and what they'll drink when everything is right. How are you going to get around this new condition and keep a happy twinkle in your eye? It's very easy now to get a drink, but tell me, did you ever stop and think? How are you going to wet your whistle when the whole darn world goes dry? What are you going to do in the morning when you need a nip to open up your eyes? Now what of the wedding and the christening and the wake when your dear friends die? Oh, how are you going to wet your whistle when the whole darn world goes dry? Again will any man be late for dinner, never will they miss the 5:15. All the fleshy boys will fade and grow much thinner, and everyone will be a candy fiend if they pack the soda fountains to the doors.
They can call themselves lucky, the fortunate few who live their lives never drinking from the bitter cup of pain. But when one unlucky family incurs the God's malignity from generation to generation, they must swallow the bitter potion of pain again and then again.
Just as rollers crash and sea spray whips up the exposed beach, and black clouds lower a gale from north screams through frozen lips, while the sea casts up from its depths a shower of pebbles on the shore, and black stare from the chasm of the ocean darkens the strand.
On every descendant of the ancient line of Lapticus, divine and merciless retribution falls in the unremembered past. Some unforgiving Olympian casts the weight of his vengeance on the whole race, so that agony, destruction, disgrace destroy son and daughter, and darken their halls with tragedy.
The cold hands of the dead reach out for the living, and no one is spared. Another generation sheds its blood. New light is snuffed out. The young are bared for the same bloody acts. The characteristic sin of Oedipus. Arrogance brings its bleak harvest in.
For Zeus is all-powerful, no man can match him. He never sleeps as man must sleep. And time, which leaves its mark on fair complexions and on dark, can never engrave his face or dim the brightness of his palace, where the gods keep their ageless court at the utmost peak of sublime Olympus.
Zeus is master there. And well did that wise man speak who said that past and future time he holds in his right hand, and those who climb in their greatness or wickedness beyond the permitted height he brings to destruction and despair.
But all men hope, and some have a vision. Far-ranging birds that never tire, those wings bear some men suddenly award. But some other aimlessly simply glide down to the primitive pasture, landscape obsession, half a disaster, merciless fire.
And no man can claim to have understood hope or ambition till the flames burn under his feet, and the one solid wood of his life is reduced to its last condition, ashes and dust.
A wise man said, from out of the depths of his inspiration, when a man commits crimes and is proud of the action, a flaming sword hangs over his head. No future, but the grave and the funeral urn.
Creon, here comes your youngest son. Is he desperate with grief that his future bride should be so brutally denied, and all his hopes of happiness gone?
For the last of her sons, no relief from his consuming fears, and the bitter penitent tears. Does he come to beg for mercy for his beloved Antigone? We shall know that for his own lips, without any need of fortune tellers. My dear son, I don't doubt you have heard the news of our final decision, the condemnation of the woman you intended to marry. You come here, I hope, not in any spirit of anger against your father, but understanding that we are always comrades, and my love for you is unshaken.
I know why you're your son, father. I understand the depth of your experience. In matters to stay, and I try to follow them as best as I can, whenever I can. Any marriage would be worthless to me that did not have your approval or love.
Good fellow, hang on to that. A father's opinion should always be influential with his son, and fathers with young sons, when they pray for them, ask especially that they should grow up to be loyal, obedient, under pressure, the first to strike at the father's enemies, just as they are the first to support his friends. A father whose sons yield no such profits from the investment of his parenthood breeds grief and sorrow as his offspring, and becomes himself a figure of fun, especially to his enemies. Don't be taken in, boy. Don't let any woman ensnare you by exploiting your sexuality or any of the attractions that lure infatuated men into submission. God help the lovesick fool who marries a dominating woman. Passion never lasts, and a cold bedroom breeds cold hearts, anger, and bitterness, for there's no hatred so violent as the hatred of two people who were once in love. Get rid of her, my boy. This girl's an enemy. No good to you or your best interests. Spit her out like poison. Let her find herself a husband that suits her among the dead. Don't deceive yourself. She has been openly apprehended performing a criminal act against the state. She is a confessed traitor. And if I were to spare her life, I too would betray the state and its lines, everything I stand for. I will not do it, and she must die. Let her pray to Zeus till she drops. Let her assert she stands for family, love, and ancient virtues, and all the rest of it. If I tolerate treachery in my own house under my very nose, how can I crush subversion anywhere else in the city, or in the state at large? A man who rules wisely within his own family is more likely to make sensible judgments in political matters in the direction of the state. To pervert the laws and twist it to serve one's own ends or the interests of one's relations, that cannot be allowed, neither in states nor in families, and will not be allowed by me in any circumstances. Unquestioning obedience to whomsoever the state appoints to be its ruler is the law as far as I'm concerned, and this applies to small things as well as great ones, just or unjust, right or wrong. The man who is firm in his dealings with his family will be equally firm in power. His wisdom will be equally remarkable, whether as king or indeed as subject. In times of war and national danger, he will be the man you can rely on. The man you would feel safe with fighting beside you in the front rank when the battle becomes critical. Indiscipline, anarchy, disobedience, what greater scourge than that for humankind? States collapse from within, cities are blown to rubble, efficient armies are disorganized, and potential victory turn to disaster and carnage, and all by disobedience, anarchy, and indiscipline. Whereas the well-drilled regiment that asks no questions, stands firm, knows nothing, and needs to know nothing, and wins, thus saving the lives of millions of honest people. Authority is essential in any state and will be upheld in this one by me. There will be no yielding to female fantasies, not so as much by an inch. And if we must be deposed, let it be by a man's hand, son, not by a conspiracy of women.
If an old man is fit to judge, Lord Creon, he was spoken rationally, sensibly, and with the wisdom from long experience.
Father, the most enviable of a man's gifts is the ability to reason clearly. And it's not for me to say that you are wrong, even if I were clever enough, experienced enough, which I'm not. But it's also true to say that some men think differently about these things. And as your son, my most useful function, it seems to me, is to keep you in check with what other people are thinking, what they say, do, and disapprove of. And sometimes what they leave unsaid, the prospect of your disapproval, is a bright silencer of most men's tongues. And some things are never said for the fear of the consequences. But I can sometimes hear what people whisper, Father, behind their hands and everywhere. I hear sympathy expressed for this poor, unfortunate girl, condemned as she is to a horrifying death that no woman has ever suffered before, and unjustly in most people's eyes. In burying our brother who was killed in action, she did something most people consider decent and honorable, rather than leaving him naked on the battlefield for the dogs to tear at and the kites and scavengers to pick the bone. She should be given a medal for it. Those same people say, and her name inscribed in the roll of honor. Such things are whispered in secret, Father, and they have reached my ears. Sir, your reputation matters to me as much as your good health and happiness do. Indeed, your good name matters more. What can a loving son be more jealous of than his father's reputation? And what could please a father more than to see his son's concerned that people will think well of him? Then let me beg you to have second thoughts, and not to be certain that your own opinion is the only right men, and all then share it. A man who thinks he has the monopoly for only what he says and what he thinks is any relevance reveals his own shallowness of mind when every word he says. The man on judgment knows that it's not a sign of weakness to value others' opinions, and to learn from them when he's wrong, to admit it openly, and change his mind. You see it when the river floods. The trees that bend, survive. Those whose trunks are flexible are snapped off short by the weight of water. And a sailor in a storm who refuses to reef a sail and run with the wind is likely to end up capsized. I beg you, Father, think twice about this. Don't let your anger influence you. If a man of my age may lay some small claim to common sense, let me say this. Absolute certainty is fine if a man can be certain that his wisdom is absolute. But such certainty and such wisdom is rare among them men. And that being so, the next best is to learn to listen and to take good advice when it is offered.
There is a lot of sense, my Lord Creon, in what this young man has said, as indeed there was in everything you said too. The fact is, you are both in the right, and there's a good deal to be said for either.
Is there indeed? Am I expected to listen and take lessons in political tactics at my age from a mere boy?
I am a man, Father, and my arguments are just. They stand upon their merits, not my age.
Oh, they stand upon their merits, do they? What merit is there? Please tell me in breaking the law.
If she had done something shameful, I would have defended her.
She has brought the law into contempt. That's shameful.
Listen to the people in the street, Father. the ordinary demons. They say she has it.
I have never based my political principles on the opinions of people in the street.
Now who's speaking like a boy?
I'm speaking like a king. It's my responsibility and I will act according to my own convictions.
When the state becomes one man, it ceases to be a state.
The state is the statesman who rules it. It reflects his judgment. It belongs to him.
God would rule and that does it then. There's nobody there to argue with you. What a king you'll be there.
All this boy of mine is on the woman's side.
Yes, if you are a woman, I am. I'm on your side, Father. I'm fighting for you.
You damned impertinent devil. Every word you say is against me. Your father.
When I know you're wrong, I have to speak.
How am I wrong? By maintaining my position in the authority of the state, is that wrong?
When position and authority ride roughshod over your
willing and luxurious and contemptible, with no will of your own, your woman's mouthpiece.
I'm not ashamed of what I'm saying.
Every word you have said pleads for her cause.
I plead for you and for myself. Respect for common humanity. Respect for the dead.
You will never marry that woman. She won't live long enough to see that day.
If she dies, she won't die alone. There'll be two deaths, not one.
Are you threatening me? How dare you threaten me?
No, that's not a threat. I'm telling you, your policy was misbegun from the beginning.
God, everything's misbegun. Here's my son. You'll regret this, I promise you.
If you were my father, I say you were demented.
Don't bother me. You're a woman's plaything, a tame lapdog.
Is anyone else allowed to speak? Must you have the last word in everything? Must all the rest of us be gassed?
I will. And you, I promise you will regret what you have spoken here today. I will not be sneered at or contradicted by anyone. Sons can be punished too. Bring her out the bitch. Let her die here and now in the open with her bridegroom beside her as a witness. You can watch the execution.
That's one sight I shall never see. Never, ever will you see me again, Father. Those that wish to watch this disgusting spectacle in company with a madman are welcome to it.
Go!
Lord Creon, an uncontrollable fury has possessed your son and swept him off like a whirlwind. The young man's anger is a terrifying thing.
Let him go and shout his head off about moral this and decent that till he raves himself senseless. These two women are sentenced. It will take more than bluster to reprieve them, I promise you.
Both of them, sir. You mean to put both of the sisters to death?
No, you're right. I can take advice. The one who covered the body, not the other.
And for the condemned one, what manner of death?
Take her to some lowly place, rocky and unfrequented by anyone. Find a cave and wall her up in it. Bury her alive, but with just enough food so that no guilt for her death will fall either upon us or on the state. She'll have plenty of time to honor the gods of the dead there, since they receive so many of her prayers. They will release her, and she will learn that worshiping the dead is not the business of the living.
It has been said by Adolf Hitler in his book, Mein Kampf, published in 1925.
It is the sacred mission of the German people to assemble and preserve the most valuable racial elements and raise them to a dominant position. All who are not of a good race are chaff. These include the Czechs, Poles, Hungarians, Ruthenians, Serbs, and Croats. And the eternal mushroom of humanity, the Jews. I believe that I am acting in the spirit of Almighty God in defending myself from the Jews. I am doing God's work.
Ladies and gentlemen, the President of the United States.
My fellow Americans, last night when I spoke with you about the fall of Rome, I knew at that moment that troops of the United States and our allies were crossing the Channel in another and greater operation. It has come to pass with success thus far. They yearn but for the end of battle, for their return to the haven of home, lead us to the saving of our country, and with our sister nations into a world unity that will spell a sure peace. Thy will be done, Almighty God.
When the god of unbridled passion means war, he always wins. No force on earth can withstand his powerful, merciless hands.
When the first flowers appear in a young girl's cheek, the remorseless match begins. And then, from the deepest valley to the highest peak, his traps are set. And no man's sins or virtues can keep him from the net. The mania is universal. The gods themselves run mad. Men lose their wits and no one is stirred.
When the madness strikes, no one is safe. The maturest of men will commit follies and crimes, undreamed of in saner times.
What else could provoke this strife between father and son? Kin divided and murderous anger between kin.
There is fire in a woman's eye incited by such consuming heat. A man's mind can burn.
Aphrodite shares power with Zeus. Her seat is at his right hand. Her lightning strikes to the heart, and his power is frightening.
Yet how can we talk of justice and the needs of the state while we stand and watch this unendurable sight? My eyes will have their way and weep, seeing Antigone like a young bride going to her bedchamber to marry the dead and share their everlasting sleep.
In all my wanderings, gentlemen, this place has been my home. I was born in this city, and now I begin my last journey. I look up at the sun in its familiar sky and feel its warmth on my face only to say goodbye. In the daytime of my life, in mid-breath, this security policeman, Death, arrests me as he arrests everyone, young and old, at home or in the street. To the cold waters of darkness we come, never to return across that silent river. No wedding for me, no music, no guests in the room. My wedding gift is eternity in a stone tomb. My dowry, forever not to be. Death, my bridegroom.
But your action is famous in every street clouds whisper, Antigone! You go down to the dead with the promise of glory ringing in your head, and nothing to devalue your beauty. No sword is sparky, plate visited. Unmarked, untouched, you pass from the dangerous light into eternal night, alive, alone, and free.
Do you remember the sad story of Tantalus' daughter? She was a stranger from Phrygia, unmarried like me, in danger like mine. She was sentenced to die on the rock of Cyclus, and there was no glory for her, only the endless shock of the elements and the terrible place where she was imprisoned. The mountains embraced like fingers of ivy, tying her down, enclosing and entombing her, and she all alone, while the snow blinded her and the freezing rain ripped her to rags and exposed her pain to the naked sky. What bitter tears she shed as she slowly turned to stone, and the gray rock petrified her by inches, and she died. Her story is mine. Today, I shall share her rocky bed.
But she was a goddess, not born for death, like the children of men whose desperate mortality is their only certainty. Will it soothe your pain to share her destiny, or soften your distress, as alive in the earth, you draw your last breath, to live on with legend and stone?
This is a mockery, but by everything the city of our fathers had ever held sacred, you landowners, you elder statesmen, you rulers of Thebes, my dying is no joke. Am I a figure of fun to be treated like a child, insulted and humiliated as I leave you forever? Then forests and meadows and our Theban river, glittering pathway, ceaselessly flowing from Jersey's death till now. Flat lands thundering beneath our chariots. You must be my witnesses, my only friends and mourners, as victimized by an unjust law. I go to my last home in the living tomb, to wait till the slow darkness descends, cold and starving on my stony bed, halfway between the living and the dead.
No one has ever dared to go so far before as you have dared to go. Now you've stumbled and stubbed your toe and will shortly shed your blood on the marble staircase of the law. You carry your father's crimes like a millstone on your back. Small wonders in such times if the bones bend or break.
Nothing more painful than that. The remembrance of my father's long agony and the curse on my suffering family from the beginning. So much grief from the unlucky chance of the son finding the mother's bed, and worse than anything, the benighted offspring of that unspeakable marriage, and I, with the others, share that terrible destiny. Conceived in incest, no repentance can soften the punishment. The years pass, the agonies increase, and there is no pity for our tears. No marriage for me, for certain. I shall close that book forever as I meet my father and mother in the chaise. The weddings will cease. Marriage to a woman of Argos finished my brother and finished me too. One death breeds another.
To pay respect to the dead is praiseworthy, an act of love, and religion must have its due. But no civilized state can eschew authority. Laws must be obeyed, whether we approve or disapprove. If you refuse to sanction the power of the state by indulging your obsession, you connive at your own fate.
Spare me your sympathy. Weep no false tears. I know the path that I must follow. To the sunless country of eternal sorrow, the bleak waters of eternity, the unimaginable years, no grief where none is felt. I shall go alone and in silence to my house of stone.
If death could be prevented by singing arias about it or other self-indulgent displays of grief, this performance will go on forever, I've no doubt. But I had enough of it. Take her away, lock her up in a stone vault with half a mountain for a roof, then brick up the door. Let her die there if she chooses, or if she prefers, let her stay in the grave. Why not? Because the grave is the only fit place for her. Solitary confinement among the dead. Whatever she does, there will be no guilt on me or on the state. Her death's her own, but there's no place for her among the living.
To my grave, then. My honeymoon bed, my prison, my crypt under the mountain, my home for the rest of time. I shall meet so many of my relations there. We shall all be guests of the sad-faced queen of the shadows, Persephone, in that bleak hotel that is never short of a room. I am the last, the unhappiest, I think, and the youngest, booking in too soon. But my father will be there to meet me at the door. My mother will smile and hug me close as she always did. And my brother, he will be glad to see me, more than all the rest. At each fresh grave, my hands sprinkled the earth. At each I poured the purifying water and made offerings. And for my beloved Polynices, whose broken body I set to rest, I am rewarded with a shameful death. There are some, I know, more thoughtful people who respect my action. They must justify me. Not for a husband, you understand. Not even for a son would I have done this. If the law had forbidden it, I would have bowed my head and let them rot. Does that make sense? I could have married again, another husband, and had more children by him if the first had died. Do you see? Do you understand me? But my mother and father are dead. There will be no more brothers, never again. My love had to speak at Polynices' grave, or nowhere. And for that terrible crime, my dearest brother Creon sentenced me to death, drags me here, and will shut me away in the cavern under the mountain. A living death in silence and darkness and solitude. I shall die unmarried, all those pleasures denied me. and motherhood denied too. No children to love me, to love, and now no friends. What moral law have I broken? What eternal truths have I denied? Yet now not even a God can help me, and there's no man to will, I am sure of that. No help and no hope. How can there be when common decency has become a crime? If the gods in heaven have changed their minds, and this is the way they order things now, I shall soon know it, and I shall have learnt my lesson the hard way. But if some others are mistaken, let them be punished as I have been punished, and suffer the injustice that I suffer.
She hasn't changed, even now. The anger inside her still blows like a hurricane.
The sooner she's got rid of, shut up out of harm's way, and forgotten, the better. Tell those guards to get a move on her. They will regret it.
That word is my death.
And now it is spoken. Don't comfort yourself with hope. There's none.
This is the land of my fathers, Thebes, built by a god. You see, senators, my time has run out. There is no more left. I am the last of the royal blood, a daughter of kings, and I die his victim unjustly for upholding justice and the humanity of humankind.
Take my people with me. Together we are going to a brand new home, far across the river. Can you hear freedom calling, calling me to answer? Gonna keep on keeping on. I can feel it in my bones.
You have made it 100 miles to freedom. Would you like to pick a new name to mark your freedom?
Paradigm. Early in the morning, before the sun begins to shine, we're gonna start moving towards that separating line.
From Stone Mountain of Georgia. Let freedom ring from Lookout Mountain of Tennessee. Let freedom ring from every hill and molehill of Mississippi, from every mountainside. Let freedom ring from
and I don't mind if I lose any blood on the way to salvation.
Others have suffered, my child, like you. Upon Danae, too, the same dreadful sentence was passed.
Far from the light of day, in a tower of brass she was shut away, and that one single room, both prison and tomb, became her wedding chamber at last.
Like you, she was a child of king, yet in her womb the semen of Zeus, descending in a golden shower, made a mockery of the brazen tower.
Fate has its own momentum. When things must be, they will be. What use is power in the state or wealth, massive armies, an unsinkable fleet? God makes their entrances by strength or stealth, and no tombs or towers can keep them out.
The arrogant king Lycurgus discovered wisdom when he angered the god Dionysus with his railing. That proud Edonian king was punished with madness and long imprisoned in a rocky cell to endure the private and particular hell of lunacy, till the healing silence soothed and reordered his mind.
He learned there the terrible power of the God he had challenged. Ecstasy is beyond man's understanding, a mystery deeper than reason which overcomes pain and seeks truth in intoxication and terror. Only a fool would attempt to stop the Maenads in full flight or silence their ecstatic singing. The sleep of reason is not darkness, but another kind of light.
And where the gloomy rocks divide the seas in Thrace by the Bosporus, the savage god Ares laughed to see the sons of Phineus blinded with a spindle. Nothing could placate their vengeful stepmother's hate. Her bloody needle darkened their eyes forever, blinding the children as the gods had blinded the father. From their mother's wedding day, their destiny was settled. They wasted lives they wept away in sightless misery.
Yet she was descended from the gods. In the echoing caves of the north wind she hallowed as a child, and on the mountainside ran wild with the horses. Man's fate is determined, will not be denied. The child Antigone pays for the parents' pride.
Senators of Thebes and your new king, Creon, we have traveled together, my boy and I, sharing one pair of eyes between the two of us, which is, you know, the way that blind men must make their journeys.
Tiresias, what news brings an old man so far?
Important news, it can't wait, and advice which, if you're wise, you'll listen to.
I've always listened, and acted upon it more than once.
And like a sensible captain who values his pilot, you've avoided the rocks.
I admit it, we all do. We're all in your debt.
Then for God's sake, listen to me. You're like a man balanced on a razor, likely to fall or cut himself to pieces.
Are you serious? Any man would shudder hearing such things from your lips that have foretold so many horrors. Tell me what you mean, please.
Yes, I intend to. Everything my experience of forecasting the future and understanding symbols has revealed to me, I will make plain to you. Creon, I was sitting in my usual seat, a place where I can hear the singing and the secret language of the birds and understand their meaning, when I heard quite unexpectedly a terrible sound, like shrieking or cries of anguish, hysterical twittering and whistling, like the babble of a barbaric language only capable of expressing hatred or pain. By that and the wild beating of wings, I knew the birds were at war. Such sounds, it can mean nothing else. And that thought, it disturbed me. I could well imagine their blood-stained beaks and their dripping claws, and at once I went to my altars to see what I could learn from the sacrifice by the fire, but nothing would burn. A filthy liquid ran from the flesh and dropped on the embers and sizzled and bubbled among the ashes. Then the gallbladder burst, spurting, stinking acid across the meat, and all the fat melted and was rendered down till the bone was left bare. I saw this, or my boy saw it. He sees for me what my eyes cannot, just as I see things to which other people are blind. But in that filth, I read nothing. The oracle was clogged with fat and decay, and then it was revealed. I understood that you, King Creon, you have decreed this filth that chokes our altar. The blood and flesh that decays and stinks there is the blood and flesh vomited from the gullets of dogs and carrion crows, the blood of Polynices, the flesh of the unluckiest of the sons of Oedipus, still unburied. It's affronting more than our sense of smell. The gods themselves are disgusted. They're rejecting our prayers and sacrifices, and how could they do otherwise? How can the birds sing of anything but horrors blown out with this banquet of human blood, clogged and stinking till their very beaks drip with it? My son, I want you to listen to me. Any man can do something wrong, can make a mistake or commit a crime, but that's not what defines you. The man who could recognize that he's done wrong, see that he was mistaken and morally wrong, and admit it and put it right, that is the man that proves that it's never too late to become wise, and no one will condemn him. But if he compounds his stupidity with stubbornness at that and an obstinate refusal to face the facts, he is nothing but a fool. I mean, think about it. Is there anyone more stupid than the stupid man who cannot see his own stupidity? Polynices is dead, gone, deceased. He's not coming back. Don't revenge yourself on his remains. There's no way, there's no glory to be gained by defeating a rotting corpse. Son, I mean you well. Heed my warnings, halt your hubris, and take my advice, please.
So that's your news, is it, old man? I am to be the target, am I, for everyone to shoot at? Well, I am wise too. Wise to the ways of fortune tellers and the buying and selling you all go in for. And I'm to be the latest bargain I see. I'm to be bought and sold like silver from the exchequer at Sardis or gold from India. I'm to be part of the trade. Let me tell you this, there is not enough gold in the world to buy a grape for that man. If golden eagles should carry him up by joints and shreds to Zeus and spew him in goblets on the marble floor of Olympus, not even that blasphemy would be enough to deflect me from my purpose. Because I know that no single human act, however much it may degrade the earth and the men who perpetrate it or suffer it, can stain the purity of the ever-living gods. But let me tell you this, Tiresias, a man can fall. He can fall like stone, especially if he pretends to give good advice and wraps it up in a profound cloak of religiosity, when all the time naked self-interest and the greed for profit are the only motives that matter to him.
Are there any wise men left anywhere?
Goodness, how profound. Do you have any more thunderous platitudes to follow that one?
Mature judgment cannot be bought. No treasure is as valuable. No faculty as fruitful. Good advice is worth more than a fortune to any man.
And bad advice is worse than worthless. A disease which infects the wisest of men.
You describe your own symptoms exactly.
I refuse to become involved in a slanging match or quarrel with the recognized prophet of Thebes.
And yet you insult me to my face. You say my predictions are both false and dishonest.
That is because all fortune tellers are money grubbers or charlatans.
Kings too have been known to be inquisitive.
Do you realize the man you are talking to? I am the king.
Yes, you are the king. I'm the one who helped to make you one.
You've had your successes, I know that. You've been proved right on more than one occasion. But honesty's another matter. I have never trusted you.
Don't provoke me to tell you everything. The dark waters of prophecy are better left undisturbed.
Disturb them, I don't care. Say anything at all, but say it honestly, not for cash.
Are you really foolish enough to believe that money has ever been my motive?
Because my integrity is not for sale.
Listen, Creon, this is the truth. In a few days' dusk, you will have made your payment, eye for an eye, corpse for a corpse, to the child of your own blood. You have buried the one still living, the woman who moves and breathes, you've given her to the grave. And the dead man you have left unwashed, unwept, and without the common courtesy of a decent covering of earth. So that both have been wronged, and the gods of the underworld to whom the body justly belongs are denied it, and they are insulted. Such matters are not for you to judge. You usurp ancient rights which even the gods themselves don't dare to question, powers which are not in the prerogative of kings. Even now, implacable avengers are on the way, the furies who rise up from hell and swoop down from heavens, fix their hooks into those who commit crimes and will never let go. There is no coming back. The suffering you inflicted upon others will be inflicted upon you. You will suffer as they did. Do you still think I've been bribed, huh? Am I speaking for cash now? Before very long. Yes, it will be very soon. There will be screaming and bitter tears and hysterical crying in this house. Men as well as women, other cities too, other states will turn on you for the crimes you have committed. Dogs and vultures will swarm in the streets, dropping fragments of the unburied man at corners, on doorsteps, in the public squares. They will smell the pollution and turn to you, its author. That's all I have to say. You made me angry, Creon, with your crude accusations. So I made you my target, and like a good marksman, all my shots have hit the bull. You can feel them, can't you? You can feel the pain like an arrow. Here. Boy, take me home now. Leave him alone to entertain some younger, ignorant ears with his ridiculous outbursts. Either that or let him learn mature judgment and how a wise man controls his tongue.
My lord, he's gone, promising nothing but disaster to come. My hair grew gray in the city. I was dark-haired here, and I am white. And in that time, I've never known any of his prophecies to be wrong.
Neither have I, man. I know that much as well as you. My mind's torn apart like a tug of war, one way then the other. How can I give way now? But how can I stand here like a fool and wait stubbornly for whatever disaster may be coming?
Lord Creon, it's time to take good advice.
Give it then. Don't be afraid, I'll listen.
Release the woman from her underground prison and give honorable burial to the man.
Oh, so that's your advice. Total collapse, complete withdrawal. Do you all think that?
We do, sir.
And do it quickly, for heaven's sake!
The gods never move faster than when punishing men with consequences of their own actions.
How can I do it? It's unendurable to deny every principle and every action I've stood fast by. But I dare not stand against the iron laws of necessity.
Go on, sir. Do it now, and do it personally, not by proxy. Do it with your own hands.
Yes. I'll go. Myself at once. Somebody, everybody, bring spades and sledgehammers out onto the mountain. I'm coming with you. If I've changed my mind, I'll act upon it with exactly the same determination. I sentenced her and I'll set her free. Tear down the bricks with my own hands if necessary. Perhaps it is wiser to let the old laws stand. My fear tells me it is. And that's a voice every prudent man must listen to.
Great God with many names, child of thunder, whom Zeus conceived on Cadmus' daughter here in Thebes, Bacchus, Dionysus, in Italy revered, and in Demeter's mysterious Eleusis, both praised and feared.
This is your native city, where the quiet rivers of its many waters and meadows, where the fever of ecstasy possesses your woman pool. Your own Thebes, where the dragon's teeth were sown.
The whole world worships you, wine god, intoxicator, on the two-pronged mountain where the torches glitter and the nymphs of Polynices dance by the pool, where Catalia's suicide made the fountain magical and the cool waters of prophecy reside.
From the impenetrable slopes of Nysa, where the ivy runs wild and the vines hang thick in your face, come home, Theban child. Let the world sing its hymns in vain. In the Theban street, hail we shout, Bacchus hail, and the city waits.
Your mother Semele died here, incinerated by the fire of the universe. Zeus in his splendor now in your city. Another disaster threatens. Fear lops of our tongues, and like a plague sore on the face. The state's disease is made public. We have done wrong. Now the first necessity is for healing from Polynices' rocky secretes, or over the sighing waters of the endless seas. Come to a healer and heal. We have suffered too long.
All the stars of the galaxy, whose hearts are fire, throb to your music, and the remote voices of measureless night speak from the depths of their mystery.
Come, with your crazed followers, your lunatic women, the wild Maenads, authentic son of Zeus. Bring delight and dancing till we drop. Bring rest, bring peace, bring healing and rebirth. Let our anguish cease, ecstatic God whose many names are one.
Senators, listen. Descendants of Cadmus who founded our city, and Amphion who built it. Good people of Thebes. No man's life ever moves smoothly according to plan. Who can make judgments say this is praiseworthy in human existence, and this is to be despised when chance rules everything? One moment, a man rides high on his fortunes, and the same moment, he crashes to the depths. Luck, like the tide, is certain to ebb after the flow, and no man can tell what will happen tomorrow. Everyone surely envied Creon. He had saved his country from its enemies, taken power as the king, and his position in the state was unchallenged. What more, he ruled well with a firm hand, and his son was at his side to help and succeed him. All of that is over now. What life can there be when all the things that makes life pleasant are destroyed? A kind of death, moving and breathing, but not living. That's how it is for him. Of course, he's rich beyond counting. He's a king still with all the pomp and circumstance that it implies. But what's it worth when all the joy of life is gone? A shadow, a mockery, a vulgar pageant? Who can take pleasure in wealth or power when all the happiness in his heart is dead?
More tragedy for this family? Tell us your news.
They're both dead, and the living must take the blame.
Who killed them?
What happened?
The king's son, Haman. The royal blood shed by a royal hand.
His father, you mean, or his own?
His own held the sword, but his father's actions drove it home.
The prophet warned us, and it all came true.
That's how things are. It's in your hands now.
The doors are opening. Look. Here's Eurydice, poor woman, Creon's wife. Does she know, do you think? Has she come here by chance, or because she has heard rumors about her son?
Gentlemen, good friends, My ears caught something of what you were saying. A few words as we opened the door. I was on my way to offer prayers to Pallas Athene. We had just drawn back the bolt when I heard a few scraps of your conversation. Enough to make me fear what all mothers fear. An accident? Or some disaster to those we love. I almost fainted. My ladies-in-waiting caught me in their arms. Please, speak it out, plainly, whatever it is. I can bear it. We are bred to stoicism in this family.
Dear Queen, whom we all respect, I was there, I saw it all, and I'll tell you exactly what happened. There's no point in trying to soften the blow now, only to be proved a liar later. It's best to tell the truth. I went with the king, your husband, to the edge of the battlefield, where we saw the body of Polynices still lying where he fell in a terrible state. The dogs had been at him, so we prayed, first to Hecate, who haunts crossroads and tombs and the scenes of crimes committed but not atoned for, and then to Pluto, king of the dead. We asked them to have pity on him and on us and not to be angry. Then we washed him, or what was left of him, with holy water, cut fresh branches to make a pyre, and burned the remains. Then we shoveled a mound of his own Theban earth over the ashes, and when we had finished, we hurried off as fast as we could to the prison cell furnished with stones that served as a bridal suite for the girl married to death. But before we arrived, one of the soldiers with the unenviable job of guarding that God-forsaken place came running back to tell the king that he had heard a terrible noise, like screaming from inside the mountain. And as Creon got nearer, he heard it too, faint but audible, a kind of weird sobbing or moaning, low and unearthly, as though grief were speaking its own naked language. The king groaned aloud, and we all heard him say, "Oh God, this is what I was afraid of. Am I a prophet too? This path up to the tomb, these last few steps, will be the most agonizing journey I shall ever make. I can hear my son's voice in there. You, quickly, guards, anybody, get inside and squeeze between the rocks where somebody has already forced an entrance. Get into the main chamber of the cave and tell me if it's my son's voice I recognize or whether the gods are playing some brutal game with me." So we went in and looked, and as the half-crazed king had told us, and in the darkest corner, we saw her, strung up by the neck, hanging from an improvised rope of twisted linen strips torn from her own dress. Haman was right beside her, cuddling her body as it dangled there, sobbing brokenheartedly at his wife's death and the marriage, bad luck, and his father's cruelty had made it certain would never take place. When Creon saw them, he staggered into the cave, groaning like an animal, and sobbed aloud, my boy, my poor boy, what have you done?" And then, "Have you gone mad coming here? There's nothing here for you but death and annihilation and despair. Come away from there, my son. Come out, for God's sake. I'm begging you, come away." But the boy just looked at him, and his eyes were terrifying, like with an anger I've never seen before. Without a word, he spat in his father's face and drew his sword and lunged straight for the old man. But Creon was quick and skipped out of distance. The poor lad, hysterical with grief and self-disgust, held his sword at arm's length and plunged it between his own ribs. And then, still conscious, he lifted the girl down into the crook of his arm. He cradled her there, his own blood. His breathing got harder and shorter as his life flooded away before her eyes, like a fountain soaking her body, so that white cheeks flushed red again with bloodstains. So now they're together, two corpses joined in death. He got his marriage, poor lad, but it was solemnized in the grave, where there are no celebrations. They look like honeymooners, quietly sleeping side by side in one bed. Evidence of the havoc man can bring upon man by his own pig-headedness and arrogance.
That's strange. What do you make of it? His wife has gone without a word, giving no indication of her own feelings, and one way or the other...
It scares me a bit, but I'm quite sure she has good reason. A public demonstration of grief would be unlike her. She'll suffer like any mother for her son's death, but in private with her women. She'd never do anything foolish or indiscreet, I'm sure of that. She's far too sensible.
I don't know. Her side is so deserving, dangerously unlike what one would expect.
That sort of silence is sometimes more threatening than screaming and tears.
Well, I'll go in after her, just to make sure that grief doesn't tempt her to anything silly or excessive. You're right. The silence was...
She seems to feel nothing in my experience.
That can be dangerous.
Look there, the king is coming, but not alone. A silenced witness comes before him, dead as stone, unspeaking evidence that the crime, like the grief, is all on his own. He suffers now for his wrongdoing.
Pain. There was hatred inside me, the urge to destroy, drove me like a maniac, an insane plunge towards death. Your death, my boy. See here the killer and his victim. See here the father and his son. I was responsible. My actions killed him. There is no blame for him, none. Blasted in the morning of your life, my hope, my joy, my hand powered the knife, my arrogance determined your fate.
You see the truth now, but you see it too late.
Suffering is the only school teacher. The gods have broken my back, whipped me up like a beast up this stony track, and destroyed my self-respect. All pleasure, all rejoicing, they have turned to anguish and weeping. Man is a naked mortal creature. Affliction is all he can expect.
My lord, you have suffered enough, but more suffering is marked to your name. One agony lies here in the open, another is awaiting. The same anguish redoubled behind the door.
There can be nothing worse. My heart is broken.
Your wife is dead. The mother of this slaughtered son. Her wound is still fresh, but the breath of life is gone.
Hades is deep, bottomless, the abyss of the dead. Will you kill me too, or bring me to my knees to suffer longer, beating my head insensible with pain? What can you say, messenger of death, with a sad face more than you've said already? My way is towards the darkness. My case can be no worse than it is. Can you kill me again? I am dead already. Is there more blood, more savagery, more hacking of flesh, more pain? First the son, then the mother. No end to this grief.
There's no hiding it now. Go and see for yourself.
Unending, unendurable pain. This is the second time I am forced to see what no man's eyes should see. Even once, is this how it ends? Or will there be more torture, more suffering? A few moments ago, my trembling arms embraced the dead son. Now death has snatched the mother from my hands.
It was there by the household shrine she collapsed, still holding the razor-sharp knife, and as darkness drew down its slow blinds and her eyes closed, she spoke of Megarius, who died in the fullness of his youth, her elder boy, but by his bed she wept, and for the son whose life ended today. With her last dying breath, curse you as his murderer who drove him to his death.
I'm shaking. I shall go mad with this terror. There must be a sword somewhere, a sharp two-edged knife to cut away my life. Living is misery for me now, forever. When I look, I see blood everywhere.
It's no more than the truth I've told. Her last word was to blame you for both deaths, mother and son.
How did she die? Did she do it alone?
She heard them weeping for Haman, cried aloud, and skewered herself under the heart with a knife.
She spoke the truth. All the guilt is mine. I am the murderer. Make that plain. Somebody, anybody, take me away. I disgrace the decent light of day. I am nothing now. I have become nothing. Nothing can happen to a man who is nothing.
How can we judge for the best in times like this? Prompt action is safest. What more is there to lose?
Where are you, my friends? Come, you shadowy messenger who runs faster than the winds. Wrap me in darkness as a friend should. Why waste another day? What good is daylight to me? Why should my misery darken the face of another dawn? Please pull down the blind.
Tomorrow is a mystery. No man can say what time will make plain. We live day by day. The future is in greater hands than ours.
I am nothing. I want nothing. My last simplest prayers.
There's no time for prayers now. It's too late to pray. What must come will come tomorrow or today.
I am nothing. Take me then. The man who kills without knowing it, his wife and son. Where shall I go then? Left or right, all wrong turnings now. Into the night darkness hide me. There's blood on my hands. My head is split, my back is broken. I should be dead.
The key is to human happiness.
It is an earlier wisdom in your heart. For man was handmade business, and that the gods played their part. Above all, the same law, but also the law. The proud man gave rejected in his arrogance to despise everything but ourselves. And in the end, the God will bring him to grief. They are not here. We have seen an old man who suffering become wise.
Great job. Yo, why were people laughing at us?
I don't know.
That was a great scene.
son would kill the widow, right?
Tradition.